Hello, everyone. My name is Fatima Rodriguez, and I am a student at UC Berkeley studying physics and astrophysics. This project was done in the summer of 2019 with Dr. Spencer Klein and the IceCube group at the Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory. So in this project, we tried to answer what is the dominant source of muon production in the atmosphere. So what are muons? Muons are subatomic particles that are produced by cosmic ray showers. Cosmic rays are high energy particles that come from outer space and enter the Earth's atmosphere. And once they enter the Earth's atmosphere, they interact with atmospheric particles. And so there's two different ways they can interact. One way is called hadronic collisions, which is essentially the cosmic ray particle and the atmospheric particle collide head on, and their impulse creates a cosmic ray shower, as shown here. Now, the second way is through ultra-peripheral collisions, and these are interactions between the two nuclei of the two particles, and they interact electromagnetically. And this also creates a cosmic ray shower here. So both interactions cause cosmic ray showers, different cosmic ray showers, but they ultimately are responsible for the production of muons. And why do we want to learn about muons? Well, cosmic rays are very hard to track, and that's because they're coming from outer space and they're being bounced around by electromagnetic fields from different objects, and they're coming at high accelerations. So the only way we can study them is indirectly through the subatomic particles that they produce. So how do we calculate muon production? We can calculate it by using Monte Carlo simulations, such as Starlight, created by Dr. Spencer Klein. And now the reason why we want to use Starlight is because Starlight can give us the cross-section for ultra-peripheral collisions. And the cross-section is the area between two particles colliding. And for hadronic collisions, this is simply a calculation through this formula here using the radius of the cosmic ray nuclei and the radius of the atmospheric particle. But it gets more cumbersome for ultra-peripheral collisions because these are electromagnetic interactions. Now, the reason why we want cross-sections is you can essentially think about it as two targets. If you have two targets and one is bigger than the other, the bigger one, you're most likely to get a bullseye from the bigger one versus the smaller one. So similarly, we want to see which of these two collisions have the bigger cross-section. And the one with the biggest cross-section is the one that's most probable to occur in the atmosphere and ultimately be the dominant source of muons. So using these Monte Carlo simulations, using Starlight, we created a distribution of muons that were produced by photonuclear interactions, so ultra-peripheral collisions. And we were able to compare it to the muon distribution made by Corsica-Sybil, which is also a Monte Carlo simulation. And turns out that the cross-section for the ultra-peripheral collisions is significantly smaller than the hadronic cross-section. This means that hadronic collisions are the dominant source of muon production, and UPC production is overall insignificant for all cosmic rays. And we're making that claim because in these simulations, we used iron nuclei for the initial cosmic ray, which are known to be the heaviest cosmic ray possible from past data. So how do we check this distribution? We can use underground detectors, such as IceCube. IceCube is a neutrino observatory located in the South Pole. And now the reason why we have detectors buried 2,400 meters below the ice is because, as we've seen before, these collisions cause cosmic ray showers, and along with the cosmic ray showers and subatomic particles, energy is released. So we need a transparent material like water or ice in this case for light to pass through and get detected. So that is why IceCube was created. What's next? The Corsica model above averages over all angles at which a muon can be detected. This is a function that has yet to be implemented for Starlight. And the reason why this is important is because that extra distance that a muon travels can potentially maybe influence the energy distribution later on. So this concludes my presentation. This beautiful image of IceCube was taken by Mark Wolf. And I would like to thank my, my PI, Dr. Spencer Klein, and my wonderful NERDS director, Diana Lizarraga, and Chris Nobel for opening the door to research for me. So thank you.